The Big Four banks have been holding urgent talks with financial institutions, including the Reserve Bank, as well as the federal government, on how to make sure cash still gets delivered around the country. Cash mover Armaguard Australia is currently at risk of going insolvent because of the declining use of notes and coins. Steve Worthington is an adjunct professor at Swinburne University who specialises in payment systems. He joins us now from Melbourne. Hello, Steve, and thanks very much for joining us on News Breakfast.
My pleasure.
Well, this is a concerning story for Australians who still use cash. Of course, that number is dwindling rapidly. But what does it mean if Armaguard Australia goes insolvent?
Well, if they did go insolvent, which I don't think they will, it would be quite a disaster for people who enjoy using cash or who need to use cash. So cash has been in decline for a long time, really, and the pandemic turbocharged the decline in cash as a means of payment. And that's still going on as banks close their branches, take away ATMs, and indeed as merchants don't want to take cash, or some refuse to take cash. So it's getting more and more difficult to access cash and to use it.
And what do we know about these talks with financial institutions? Could there be potentially a bailout or some way of making sure Armaguard is still delivering, maybe just at a lower rate and to less institutions?
Yes, the Australian Banking Association has been handling that particular negotiation, and I believe that the Big Four banks in particular are willing to chip in here. And there's a lot of pressure really coming also from the RBA, who I think want to maintain the use of cash as a means of payment. I would point out, of course, that cash is also a big store of wealth, and there's an enormous number of $50 and $100 notes in circulation, and I've got a few here as mementos. And so there's a lot of cash that's been printed, but not necessarily, if you like, in circulation. But there's still people who rely on cash, senior citizens, people who live in regional or rural areas where internet might be intermittent, people on low incomes who might not even have bank accounts. So it's a very important means of payment for a fairly large number of people. And I personally don't want to see the end of cash. I think it needs to be supported and maintained.
Well, just on that, especially for regional Australia, I'm thinking especially of older Australians in regional Australia. What means do they have of getting cash with so many facilities closing now? Have you looked into this?
I haven't looked into this exactly, no, but one way is perhaps to get what's called cash back when you go to a supermarket and you ask for some cash to come out as well as paying for something. But basically, the decline of bank branches, particularly in regional areas, and the loss of ATMs is making it more and more difficult to access cash. So it's a difficult problem, but one that I hope will be resolved by keeping Armaguard in business and continuing to deliver, and indeed also to take away cash.